Good morning and happy Friday here on this episode of Mic'd Up here on Pittsburgh Sports Live and Pittsburgh Sports Now. As always, this show is presented by Martin Lawn Services. Hit up Doug Martin for your lawn care needs at 412-849-5894. And we are now a day after. We are now 24 hours after, give or take, the home opener for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So it is baseball season in Pittsburgh. We're now a few weeks in, actually, to this 2021 season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we're going to keep this a baseball-themed show as we head towards the weekend and kind of recap the home opener in particular. And it's very fitting because we've talked ad nauseum about the Pirates and our expectations with this entire season. But this also is a year where they have pretty much a game every day because of trying to jam it in with COVID. So this is a day off for the Pirates. They don't play today. They will play Saturday. They played yesterday during the day for the home opener. So he's Mike Vukovcan. I'm Mike Asti. Again, this is Mic'd Up on PSL. Subscribe. Hit that button below this video to subscribe as we get all our content to you. And it's free to do so thanks to our sponsors like Martin Lawn Services. So, Mike, we're going to fire a few different Pirate topics here, and this mostly goes off of the home opener. And in particular, obviously, it's been a rough road for this team throughout the season. They lose the home opener 4-2 to the Chicago Cubs, a game that maybe some thought they were going to be able to win at times. This was a close game, unlike the recent games where they were getting blown out. The Cubs are the team they beat this year back in the season opener at Wrigley to open up the overall season, an opening day of Major League Baseball. They lose this one, though. So what's your takeaway just from the game itself before we get into a couple of the topics? Just in the loss and just the home opener, whether it be 7K being there, and that's a little under 9, but it's still better than maybe what would have been overall kind of full capacity for the Pirates, or just the game itself?
Well, I'm going to focus on a few things.
Sure.
A few things in the game where I think things went wrong. Number one for the Cubs, as we all know, the Pirates don't have stars yet.
They do not.
Ke'Bryan Hayes is their gate attraction right now. The Cubs have three. That would be Baez, Rizzo, and Bryant. And their stars came through today.
Right.
All hit home runs. If you actually look at the box scores prior to today's game, we all know the Pirates have been struggling to hit. Their average shows it. Well, it's hard to believe, but the Cubs average, their starting average with the players in their lineup was worse than the Pirates, meaning guys like Rizzo.
Right.
But for today's game, they were the stars.
Yeah.
They were the guys that have done it in the past, and they did it. And they got key hits when they needed them. And as far as the Pirates go, they had four innings where they had multiple guys on base.
Yeah.
And some of those with third base with one out. That was actually twice in the third and in the eighth, and they didn't score any runs. When you're a team that's going to struggle to score runs,
Yeah, you can't leave them on. Right.
No.
Once you get them there.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to get them home from second with one out, but when you have a guy at third,
Yeah.
those guys got to come through. Colin Moran, we were singing I don't know if we were singing the praises, but we were complimenting Phil Evans.
Yeah,
for the job
as much
done.
as you can at this point with this
exactly.
team. And I think also, to your point, this is a Pirates team that doesn't have the big boppers. They don't have home run hitters or sluggers, unlike the Cubs. For example, Chris Bryant with 3 home runs on the year, 2 of them against the Pirates in the games they played this season. And this is a Cubs team that, while they have stars and they're still good, they're still a team that could make the playoffs this year. Many were expecting them entering the season to miss the playoffs. They have lost players more than they have gained. Joe Madden now a couple years removed. This is 5 years removed from the World Series year that broke the curse. So this is not as great of a Cubs team as in recent years, but still clearly a big advantage over Pittsburgh. And I think the other point is, from the offense having more stars to get those clutch runs. Jake Arrieta, another win over Pittsburgh. He can go deep in games and can be your ace. The Pirates don't have that guy.
Yeah, and I would say today, out of all their losses this year, today was probably the one that you could label as frustrating.
Yeah.
I think the other games
could have been a win.
Yeah, they got taken out to the woodshed. Today was a frustrating game. Jake Arrieta was there to be had. They had plenty of chances against him in the bullpen to score some runs. And the one that, people are going to remember was the 8th inning. They had bases loaded. They were down by 2 runs, 1 out, and Fowler and, Wilmer Defoe, Cade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, frustrating. And Jason Mackey brought up a point, and I know this will be brought up, depending on how many times it happens. But I love Jason Mackey's work from PG. Probably the best
Sure.
beat writer in town right now, for any of the sports. He brought up the fact of this is probably why you wanted to have Todd Frazier on the bench for a situation like that instead of setting up Wilmer Defoe with bases loaded. And it's a fair point. It's a fair point, but does wins, do wins really? I guess they do matter. But in this situation, I would have rather obviously had Todd Frazier at bat than what happened.
And it still makes no sense to me that I get that he's not close to who he was. I get that he really isn't a serviceable player anymore for your future by any means, and his value around Major League Baseball is pretty low, clearly. But if you're going to bring him back when he tested the value and didn't go anywhere, you're clearly getting behind and getting past his comments about not wanting to be with the Pirates because he's still with your system. So once all that's done, if you have an injury to a position that he can still play, bring him up. And even if he just sits on the bench and doesn't start these games, that would have been a spot to give him an AB, because what we know about veteran Major League Baseball players is even if he can't play defense anymore, even if his value diminished, and even if his average would be below 200 if he did have a stretch of tons of at-bats, he had 21 homers in the big leagues only a couple years ago. I feel like he could hit a dinger once every, 100 throws out there. Maybe he'd get lucky and connected something, and maybe that would have been it. So that player can every now and then catch lightning in a bottle, and they're not even giving the opportunity because they're not even letting him be up there with the big club. But Jake Arrieta's second win over the Pirates this year. Chris Bryant's second home run over the Pirates this year. The Cubs are thrilled to be playing the Pirates tons this year. So they're racking up the stat sheet there. What I do want to ask you, though, because, again, the Cubs win 4-2 in the home opener, and it absolutely is that game that kind of got away. The Pirates have just lost every game since the season opener win over the Cubs. That was 5-3. And Jake Arrieta, for context, he allowed 1 run off 6 innings in game 2 of the year, which was the Cubs' first win and the Pirates' first loss. He then allows 2 off 7 in this one. So he's another gem from him, especially, in how Major League Baseball is run today. But Tyler Anderson, 3 runs off 10 hits, goes 5 1/4. Obviously, he's had a rough season now, an ERA of 5.23. It's another loss for him. However, is it a problem for you that they let him linger? Just what I talked about actually on yesterday's show. Unlike his first start, where they kept him in only 4 innings, he was finally getting roughed up and they took him out. He only allowed, I believe it was 1 or 2 runs in that game, and they eventually lost. He didn't get to go too far. They let him linger in this one, and then he blows up. Should they have taken him out earlier, or do you not have a problem with it because of what I said yesterday, that they got to test these guys every now and then?
No, I didn't have a problem. The funny thing, and the thing that I love most about baseball was the strategy that you could talk about during a game.
Right.
When hockey goes on or basketball, there's only so many things you can, you have to let the players play. Alan and I were texting during the game as far as how long of a string do you take? How long do you tempt fate by keeping Anderson in there? Can you just figure?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have. I have no problem with Shelton, what he did. He at that point, he had 1 out in the 6th inning. He was only in the low 70s pitches. He was pitching fine. He gave up 2 bad pitches, I believe, the whole game. He misplaced a placement with Chris Bryant. Jacob Stallings wanted to pitch up by the shoulders, and Anderson, unfortunately threw it right down the middle, and Bryant deposited it. And then the same thing, the pitch to Baez wasn't bad. He went down and got it. I have no problem with Shelton keeping him in there. The bullpen's pitched a lot lately.
That's, I think, why, too. Yeah, the bullpen's been in there a lot. Yeah.
And he was only in 70 pitches. It's not as though it's a, Mitch Keller or somebody. Anderson's been around the block.
Right.
He's pitched before. He's used to this. he was hoping he can get 6 innings out of the guy. And unfortunately for him, that didn't work. The managerial move by Shelton didn't work. And the other one that didn't work either was the bad breaks today for Shelton. Nothing he was calling worked. He pulled Crick so he can get lefty on lefty and have Howard against Rizzo. And first pitch from Sam Howard, Rizzo hits a home run instead of keeping in Crick. You can criticize that when it works. It's going to work most of the time because it's lefty on lefty. He tried it today, didn't work, and one of the reasons the Cubs won.
Yeah, and again, Tyler Anderson, 3 runs off 5 hits in 4 innings. The other start, this is 3 off 10 and a little over 5 in this start. He goes an inning or so, a little bit longer. Same amount of runs given up. The other one, he allowed a couple runs that went against him, even though he wasn't still pitching in that first start. I don't mind leaving pitchers in. This season is a lost season. The wins don't matter, like it or not, even though we're early in this. You got to test these guys. Even though he's more of a veteran, he's still not that old. You got to see what you got from some of these guys. Honestly, test the fortitude. See if someone's good, especially with a guy like him or a guy like Chad Kuhl. If they've been around the block a few times, even though they're not that old, test them. See if they can become the leader of the staff by going 6 or 7 once every 3 starts, because that would be miraculous if that could occur. So I don't mind it at all. I think some of these decisions you're going to have to try to make, and people can also criticize Howard, because I will say Howard's been getting a lot of PT in terms of out of the pen. It seems like every time you blink an eye, he's coming out of there in the bullpen when they go to a guy. And you can maybe say he's being used too much because he is coming in and giving up a run per game, you could argue. But it's only who he has. It's the horses he has. If he doesn't go to Howard, he's going to go with somebody with less experience that's probably giving up 2 or 3 home runs. There's not that many options Shelton really has here. Again, mic'd up here, Mike Vukovcan, Mike Asti, as we're discussing the Pirates' home opener here, kind of in the midst of this full season for Pittsburgh. Yet another loss, 4-2 to the Cubs to open up PNC Park. And then, of course, today is a day off, and then tomorrow that Cubs series return. Jake Arrieta got the win, another one over the Pirates. Bryant Rizzo did enough. The Pirates' bats didn't do enough. And then once again, another loss for the Pirates, as it has been getting rough, to say the least. I will ask you this, Mike, as we kind of, we'll round home ourselves. Obviously, it's been rough for the Pirates as they keep on losing here. This was a game that maybe they let get away that they could have won. Eventually, they're going to snag one of these. But any positives here? They didn't get blown out. Anything you're seeing, can you in any way put lipstick on a pig that has been the Pirates season the last week, really since the season opener 5-3 win at Wrigley? Any positives at all? We did talk about some the other day, but what are the positives from this home opener, another loss?
Well, I'll try. I don't know if it'll stick.
It's lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it'll stick. But I will say that it was good to see a starter actually look like a starter. Anderson was 2 outs away. It's pretty sad. That was the best performance by a Pirate starter of the season. It didn't say a lot.
A lot of hits given up, but yeah.
Yeah, he was, he was a couple outs, couple pitches away from going 6 innings. He does that. If he would have finished six innings, 1 run, we would have been talking about what a good performance by Anderson in the home opener. Unfortunately, he gives up a 2-run home run to Baez, and it changes there. But I still look at the fact that he looked competent out there. 78 pitches, 57 of them for strikes, unlike the other Pirate pitchers over the last week where they were falling behind, too many balls. He was working ahead of the count, struck out 5 guys. He had the Cubs off balance with a lot of his stuff. So I thought Anderson looked okay. Are we going to see that every time? No, there's no chance of that. But as you mentioned, if you're able to get that, I don't know, one out of 2 times, 1 of 3 times out of Anderson, I guess you're going to have to take that. That's who he is. He's a guy that has a 4 on the ERA for his career. So that's what it is. But the biggest thing that we took from today was Gregory Polanco. He's been bad all year. Today he had 2 hits.
Couple hits, 3 on the year now. for him.
Yeah, he had 2 hits. He drew a walk,
Right.
and the one at bat that he didn't, that he flew out, it was a good at bat. I think he had 4 good plate appearances today. And for a guy that's struggling as bad as he is, you take any positive that you can get. He was the best hitter in the plate today for the Pirates, and he extra base hit. So
Yeah, had a
you
double. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you put 4 good at bats together. You're on base 3 out of the 4 times. They'll take that every time. Hopefully can build on that.
Yeah, and maybe that day off, and I don't want to call it a benching, but maybe it kind of was to refresh things. Maybe that helped him, as I did speak with Mike Persak, who also covered the Pirates from the PG on a recent post-game show, that he's in a system of a 3-tier plan to try to fix his swing. He's only apparently, according to the hitting coach, in his tier 2. So maybe he'll be better off once he gets to that third segment of things. Yeah, he went 2 for 3 with a double, was able to score. His average now only 150, but that's one hell of a jump from .71 where he entered. So other hitters maybe who were hitting earlier didn't hit in this one. That's kind of the life of the Pirates, that you finally get someone to turn it around who's been sucking. Right. Then, of course, the guys who are hitting well all of a sudden can't hit anymore. Nothing can go right all together for this team, no. It seems like. Defensively, they were okay as well. Maybe we'll give credit where it's due there in terms of not allowing things to get out of control. Yes, Tyler Anderson pitched well. 3 runs off 10 hits, though. So only 3 runs allowed, which you certainly got to take every day. But 10 hits allowed. That's a lot of hits by him. Defensively, they kept it to not let it get out of control. So That's also credit to the team, not just him as a pitcher. And the bullpen did okay. But again, that's a loss that you really do what you had back. Even though you're going to lose 100, if you lose 100 instead of 98, you point to games like this because they could have maybe had this one. The series continues. The season continues. It's another loss. The win is hard to even remember at this point. But the season has opened at PNC Park, and fans can get down there and have some food, even though it's all card now.
There's one other thing we got to bring up, Mike, is he's going to become a folk hero for this. But David Bednar,
right, yeah, he's from here.
Yeah, his I haven't heard that before.
Right.
His did you catch his music coming in from the bullpen?
Yeah.
Renegade.
Right. He must be a Steeler fan. He's from here, of course. Yeah. There you go.
If that doesn't scream Pittsburgh and Yinzer, I don't know what does. So
yeah, if it wasn't that the Pittsburgh fan was going to embrace him anyway, and this is a guy from Mars, PA. Anyone from here, of course, is going to be beloved. That's why Neil Walker was so beloved. A guy from Mars, PA, on the outskirts of Pittsburgh, in a suburb. And then comes into Renegade. He's soaking it up. He's looking for that baby face pop. So, yeah, that was perfect. We'll see if he sticks with it all season long or if he sprinkles something else in there. But he definitely, I'd imagine, is a Steeler fan, of course. Probably a Penguin fan. Maybe we'll get Party Hard from a former Penguins goal horn as well to be one of his entrance
I got a feeling
songs.
he's sticking with Renegade here.
It's been working for him so far. Yeah, he had a solid appearance as well. He came in there, struck out. Got in. Yeah, he didn't throw kerosene on the fire as some other relievers have. So far he's been okay. But yeah, he entered by Renegade, so that might even be the highlight of this game, honestly. Yeah. But fans are going to buy those jerseys.
Yeah, Polanco and the Renegade music. That's the highlight for the home opener.
Yeah, it is. But hey, again, he's from here, so you're going to hear that a lot. Drinking game for how often you hear that on the broadcast, and then also on this show. But he is officially from here. The Pirates lose the home opener, though. We win the morning show as we keep racking up W's, even though this team keeps losing. And eventually, we guarantee take this to the house. They're going to eventually win another game. I can't tell you when it's going to be, though. But that'll do it for this episode of Mic'd Up here in this week of these morning shows. Again, thanks to our sponsor, Martin Lawn Services. Hit up Doug Martin at 412-849-5894. Like Jeff Frizella, local meteorologist, did, as you saw from our last show, and can see all over PSL and PSN. Jeff Frizella hiring Doug to build a patio. So we got to get over there maybe for a barbecue at some point and enjoy that new patio when that's built. For Mike Vukovcan, for all of us at Pittsburgh Sports Live and Pittsburgh Sports Now, that'll do it for this show. Enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend, enjoy the weather, and enjoy the W's you keep racking up in your life, even if this Pirates team is not winning that often.